Space Invaders for Android Part 3. In the first couple of parts, Part 1, we attached a whole bunch of stuff to be used later on, and in Part 2, we started to move the invaders, and when they hit the side, they continued to proceed only in the opposite direction after having shifted down just a little bit. So we'll watch them. Oh, and they only moved every half a second, every 12 frames. So watch carefully. This is what we've achieved so far. Down they go, and move right is false, so they move back. So next, we want to be able to shoot them. So our spaceship's bullet is going to have to move. We'll do that first. So here it is. Basically, it's this. The bullet is going to move down by 13. Remembering that down is toward the 0 that way, right? The y gets less as we go toward the 0. So that's the biggest thing that that does. But if the bullet goes less than 0, we need to move the bullet back down to where the spaceship is. So bullet goes up, 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 up. If it goes less than 0, if it goes over here, we need to send it back down to where the ship is, noting that there is only one bullet in our game. So it goes back down to the y and the x of the spaceship. And the other thing is that we don't want it to continue moving. We don't want to shoot when it comes back down and we shoot immediately. We only want to shoot when we have pressed on the touch, when we've aimed and lined up and have pressed touch. So this bullet can move is false until it becomes true. When does it become true? When does bullet can move become true? When we tap. And we looked at that, I think, already at one point with this big tap handler button, the shooting button, where if you tap it, bullet can move becomes true. So now the bullet can move if that variable is true. So we need to check to see if it has hit the invaders. So check hits on invaders. Where is it? Right here. So, as always, when working with the invaders, we have to work with each of the invaders. So we have a loop within a loop. And since this is the first time looking at a loop within this part, I'm going to quickly, within 20 or 25 seconds, repeat what goes on with a loop within a loop through a two-dimensional array. The idea is that row starts at 0, and then you loop through the internal for loop with that row. So here's my row 0, and I want to loop, 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 loop through the columns. And then when I'm finished that inner for loop, I go to the outer for loop and I increase my row by 1, and for row 1, I'm going to go through all the different columns. Column, 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 column of row 1, and then row 2, and then row 3, and then row 4. So, through each one of the invaders in the matrix of invaders, we're going to check to see if it is hitting with the bullet. I'll deal with that in just a second. If it hits the bullet that we're shooting, then its is visible becomes false, which doesn't do anything necessarily, because is visible is just a word that we ourselves came up with. We could have said, I don't know, CMS visible variable. We could have called it whatever we wanted. This is our own variable. You can tell that because it's not blue. The x and the y, scale x, scale y, they are attributes that all symbols have. This is visible is something that we assign, and you're going to see why and how we use it shortly. But anyway, the big thing that happens when we hit any one of the invaders is its alpha becomes 0.10. Alpha is the transparency of a symbol. If I make that alpha lower, then it becomes almost invisible. So that's what we're doing. I don't want to, so I'll leave that the way that it is. That's what we're doing then when we hit the invaders. We make them to be invisible. Not totally invisible, and I didn't make them totally invisible in this case just for testing purposes. So let me just play this right now. You'll see that the alpha is going to be about a third, 30%, and they'll definitely be less opaque but we can still see that they're there for testing purposes, right? So ultimately, when you're going to publish this game, you would make the alpha to be 0. And for testing purposes, I'm going to keep them a little bit more transparent, but I'll go back to my alpha of 10. So that's the biggest thing that's happening when a bullet hits the invader array. The next thing that we do is we move the bullet back down where the spaceship is. Again, so same like when we went over the top, if we miss all the invaders, we need this bullet to come back down to the spaceship. But if we hit an invader, we need the bullet to come back down to the spaceship. And we want it to stop. Once again, we don't want it to continually shoot. We want it to get down to the spaceship and wait for bullet can move to become true again through a top. So the other thing, though, is this part of this compound if. We're only able to hit the invader successfully and significantly increase the score if we've not hit that invader before. And we know we haven't hit the invader before because its is visible will be what it was originally, true. Because when you hit it the first time, the one and only time that you can hit it properly, its is visible will become false. So the next time you hit the same invader, whether or not its alpha has been reduced, the is visible will not be true. So this compound Boolean condition will not be true, and you won't get in. So you can only hit it once. And when you hit it that once, the score is going to go up. And I've got this a little bit fancy right now, but let me make it more simple for now. We'll just keep it at 10. The score is going to go up by 10. The score is a variable we've got someplace here at the beginning. Here it is, 0. And we're going to move it up by 10 each time. And then we're going to put that score to an object called score on stage and make its text to be equal to the same value. And the score on stage, I believe, is here. Yeah, that's it. So its text becomes what the score actually is. And right now it should go up by 10 each time that I hit an invader. Doesn't matter which row, it goes up by 10. So I'll uncomment out that fancy part and leave it. And I think I'm just going to leave it up to you to try to figure out how it works. It's a neat little bit of math if you get it into your head and you trace through it. So I'll try to hit a bunch of guys in the same row. 10, 20, that'll be, oh, there we go. It actually works. So that one should bump it up by 40. So take a look through that if you want and see if you can understand how it's working as the value of row changes. And that's it. That's it for check hits on invaders. And I think it's a pretty good spot to end for this part number 3.